Good morning. How is everybody? Let's see. I got an echo. I haven't hit mute over here yet. There we go. And let's close that. And change the camera to me. And I'll say good morning. And I still have an echo. I must not hit mute right. Let me try that one more time. I don't want to hear myself bouncing. There we go. I don't want to hear myself bouncing around. I believe everything is all live now. I said good morning. It's a nice frosty morning down here in Metter. It was 36. There was actually frost on the roof and dropped my microphone. I've been over sharpening some tools. Took me an extra couple of minutes. So let's see, 10:07. That's more my standard time to get ready. Y'all let me know in the chat box there if you can hear me like you should. And I'm going to look for my other chat box here. This says there. The 10:07. That's a clapping hand. I take that. That means you can hear me, Lorianne. Great. Looking forward to today. I got to change 2 more cutters. There's always too many things for me to do here in the morning. So I got to change 2 more cutters on these Easy Wood tools that I didn't get to. So I will shoot the breeze with you for a couple of minutes. And I'm wide open to questions. It's still an echo, he says. I bet you maybe. Let's see. I'm going to mute this. Could be echo. Could be one of a million things. Could be. Let me check something else here real quick. Close that. Shouldn't be an echo in on your end. Still an echo, he says. Huh. That's interesting. I've only got the one feed going out. This is the way it's been working before. Let me know if it's still echoing as that goes along. And we'll see. At 10:08 there was still an echo. Let me know if there's still an echo there, Art, or anybody else is hearing the echo. And if you are, then I'll see about getting rid of that here, hopefully, without too much trouble. Just got to change out my CI2 cutters. So I got this wonderful piece of older now ambrosia maple that's starting to show its age. I don't know if you guys can tell that our regulars here that I have been kind of using up some of my wood supply that I've had around for a while and just kind of working my way through it. Still, he says. Okay. That means I will have to go in. Does anybody else hear the echo other than Art? That's a question. That'll tell me for sure that it's my end, on my end, and not Art's end, depending on what he's got going. Art, you're the only one there. It looks like. So we'll see. If it's that way, we will get it fixed up. I hope. I will do my best to anyway, for sure. Anyway, this piece of wood, I want to do a Saturn bowl, which is a bowl that sticks out the top and bottom of the piece with a flange or the rings around it. I was doing some studying this morning, and I want to do a Saturn bowl one of these days with resin because the rings on Saturn, if you look at the pictures on Google, the rings are out away from Saturn. They don't go right up to it. So they would actually be clear because you see black dark space through there. Now we could emulate that with the black ring on the wood, but it would be better if you could actually see through it. And it's a thought I've had in the past to do that. And I know I'm going to break the rules here just a little bit. I'm going to over tighten this just a tick. I'm going to leave and come back. Okay, well, do that, Art, and then let me know. What's shaking? If you still have the echo going, and then it's on my end. See, there's 2 folks here. If anybody else hears an echo, let me know. Shouldn't be, but there could be. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's the R2 today. I've been talking about, come on the wire. This wire's giving me trouble this morning. That resin holoform that I promised 2 weeks ago, and then last week. Between the weather and my schedule, I haven't got it ready to present, but it is working the way I want it to. It's coming along. I did some more work with it this weekend because I want to make sure I've got it right before I show it to you. I don't want to show you the wrong stuff. It's a really cool idea. And if I'm lucky this week, I'll be able to do it for you next week, and that would be great. Luigi, good morning, good evening almost. Well, good afternoon for you. I know that. How are you doing over there? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I'm just changing out a couple of cutters here real quick. Getting ready. I think I was telling Bridget this morning, if I started at 5 a.m. out here, I wouldn't be ready because I'd be doing something else to add to it. But I'm working on it, as you know. Always working and working. But anyway, that resin holoform that I'm working on for you is really cool. And I'm not saying that I created it. I don't know if I've never seen anybody else do it, but I hope to have it for you next week. I'm building the stages up so I can show you because it's kind of a complicated process, but it's really fun. All right, so let me see what's going on over here. This thing runs slow. All right, so Saturn bowl. Let me show you this from the overhead, and I've got that zoomed in fairly close so you can see it. We've got a knot right here. We've got a big split that runs down in here, and I'll turn. No, you can't see the backside. I've got a big split that goes through here, but I think that's going to turn away. This knot, I think, will turn away with the design that I have in mind. There's another little knot right there. Again, I was pretty close to the pith. There's a few cracks in this because it is older. Let me show you what will be the bottom. It's nice and clean on what's the bottom right now. I did do some cleaning up on this earlier today while I was getting it ready. Dad, you haven't missed a thing that I'm aware of, other than me trying to make sure I wasn't echoing and things like that. Glad it was cold here this morning. It was 36 and frosty. So, Saturn bowl. Let me go back to overhead. What's going to happen, and I'll just use my pencil here. Let me turn this thing on real slow. We're going to end up with a band right in there, if you can see that in the overhead. That's going to be our rings of Saturn, okay? And then if I go to the end, we're going to have a bowl shape, you know, somewhere around here. Something about that big, give or take. I don't know, just plus or minus. And the bowl's going to stick out the top and the bottom. So it'll be, you know, kind of mirrored on the top and the bottom. Then we'll have our rings. And then I'll play with some profiles there. And I got some ideas on what I want to do with that. So that's kind of the general plan of where I'm going with that. Let me turn off the speed for just a second. And I'll go back over here. Has anybody out there made a Saturn style bowl before? I've done a couple of them. I've never done one the way I'm going to plan to do this one today. Again, I'm not working with premium wood, which is kind of standard for me. I did find that beating on this knot was much easier with a carbide cutter, instead of ruining the edge on my Carter & Son bowl gouges with this knot and then having to go back over there and resharpen. I'm going to take a lot of this away with that square cutter, because I can also turn that. This knot is really hard, and it runs on down through there pretty far. Otherwise, this is a pretty neat piece of wood. This, like I say, this side is clean, so this will be the top, this will be the bottom. We'll make a tendon down here and all that good stuff. And I'm just checking over here real quick. That's one thing, you guys know me. I have gotten it set up now where I can work on this computer remotely from in the house. So I can sit there in the office in my comfies and my slippers and work on this computer right here, trying to get things set up better. So that's where I'm always going to make it work. And I was close. I had some cool things going. I had the countdown timer going, except it was just showing the time this morning. But hey, that's an advancement. I'm running this rubber chucky on here with no point, just to keep it. I got it on a faceplate with 8.5-inch screws. It's not going anywhere, but just to be safe, I'm going to run that up there. All right. And I've got it in balance pretty well now. So really, I just need to get rid of some material to start getting towards our shape. So that'll be the first part for me to do. Got my mask. I broke my mask strap the other day, so I've had to tie a knot in it because I thought I had some more out of the warehouse, but I didn't. And I hate wearing a flip-up shield where you have to crank it around on your head. So this has a knot in it. It's a little tight. I'll probably have some red marks on my face before the day is over. And hopefully the strap doesn't pop out in the middle of all this. Oh, as soon as I put it on, I get dust in my eye. Excuse me for a moment. All right. Sorry. All right. And fresh sharp cutter I just put in. I got myself confused on that one when I changed it. Where did I put them both? This is square now. Okay. So I'm going to go to overhead for you. And we'll start here. I'm pretty sure my tool rest is at right height. I'm just going to go ahead and take away some of this material. This is the big knot in here. I just want to cut that away. I'm going to make it as harmless and quick, painless as possible. Guess it would be good if I tightened down my tool rest. Give myself a little more speed. I'm running about 900, 9.25. You can hear that nasty knot. So it's interesting. I could work with, I could actually cut with the side cutter and cut into the bowl sideways, and it cuts easier, but it throws all the wood chips over here into the computers and the switch box and all that. So I don't want to do that. So if you wonder why, if I do this, it works great, but it throws everything over there. So I'm going to come at it straight. Hey, Lewis. Good morning. Good to see you. We're just kind of getting rolling here. And getting rid of a knot. And I'm just using half a cutter. I had a big a pro size rough right here this morning roughing this out, and I found that if I lean on it too hard, I trip the power strip that this is plugged into. So I'll try not to do that. You guys see okay in there? I guess so. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going here. Plenty noisy, and hopefully you can hear me and the noise of the wood's not too bad. Let's see what that's looking like in there. I'll check questions as well. What's that about, a power strip? Well, it's because I got too many things and not enough outlets in here yet, Arthur. So that's still really ugly, and you'll see this when I turn it around. That right there is kind of an ugly mess. The split is going to run out into my band, so we'll be filling that with some CA glue. Just to keep things in balance, I'm going to come over here to this other side and take some of this away. And I think I'll switch to the end camera for you for that. I'm going to take my shield off here for a second so I can defog. Being as cool as it is out here this morning. I bet it's not but about 45 out here right now, which is quite comfortable. Remember how I grumbled all summer, how hot it was? You gonna come fix my electrical, Art? That'd be great. You could finish wiring this for me and running another sub panel over. That'd be good. Anyway, at least it's not hot anymore, and it'll be nice during the day. But the days have been about 60, 65, so I can't complain. Okay, I'm defogged here. Let's head over here to this other side. Take some of this away just to stay in balance. Now this side, I can actually go from the left. And it actually cuts nicer in this grain if I do that. That's the nice thing about this square style tool. You don't have to push, and when it's to your advantage to cut laterally, it's wonderful. So I'm going to stop right there. I mean, this is really easy when you're going laterally. I'll change to the overhead so you can see it that way too. It's kind of funny, it's filling up the tool rack, and there was several years ago out at the woodworking shows, there was another turner who said that you couldn't throw chips with a carbide tool. I don't know what they were thinking when they said that, but as you can see, one can clearly throw chips with a carbide tool. Oh. Just trying to keep everything about the same size here. I'll be so happy when I have my little box up there. But we're not there yet. Move the tool rest in, take a look. I heard a little bit of sound change. Oh, okay, so there's some different heartwood grain in there it just got to. Okay. Let's make one more pass on that side right there. Okay, so I think I'm going to make my tenon just to get an idea over here. So I think I'll go ahead and start making that tenon. Take the tailstock away. And let me go this way for a second. So I've got this great arm up here that this camera is on, and I'm finding new ways to move it around. I'm trying to where I can try and keep my head out of the way. It's one of my big goals. I don't always succeed. But we'll work on get our tenon made. Oh gosh. How big a tenon? Big tenon, small tenon. I think 2 3/8 today is going to be our tenon, so we don't have an overbearing size on that. I think I'll take my mask off and let it defog while I'm setting up my caliper. Mary Alice, good to see you. Thank you for dropping by. I am so sorry for your loss, Mary Alice. I hope you're doing well. What do I want here? I want 2 3/8. I don't use this one a lot. Let me double check this real quick. I think I'll go 2.5 with it. This wood's a little soft in some places, so I'm going to err to the larger size, and I'll double check it if I'm not happy. Maybe just a little bit bigger, maybe 2 5/8. As I look at this, looking in here, I hate to cut them too small. I like them to be just about right. Okay. So, let's make a tenon. Square tool. What are we on here? We're on that. All right, let's go back to the end view for you. Now that you got to see me wander around and look for tools. Am I at the center? Pretty darn close. We'll clean this up. Make sure my head's not in the way. Now I'm hoping, I've got these cameras now. Oh, I'm looking at something else. I've got the right hand camera and the overhead camera on manual focus, so they're set at a fixed focus here. So hopefully they'll stay in focus. I think I'll go with that. I want a little extra. I want a little extra room. So that's my little reference mark right there. Okay. Now, like I said, we know that this is cutting nicely sideways. So I'm just going to come in from the end.
Make another pass. Now obviously I could be doing this with my bowl gouge, but since I want to use this tool to make my tenon, I hate changing tools. Not that I'm lazy, I don't think, but it's more efficient. I'd rather use this tool just for roughing this out, even though that's a surprisingly clean cut. Oh, another little mystery knot there, thank you. I just hate changing tools any more than I have to. And I'm working towards 3/8 tenon here. And so that's just about perfect. When I get to the back of the cutter, I have the right tenon length. I want to clean up the very bottom. It's still got a little wobble in it, and I want to make sure it's slightly concave. And the way I make sure that it's not sticking out, I just take my tool and stick it on there and say, yep, I can see a little bit of daylight. I double check my length. I can take a little touch more in length out of here. Make sure my tool is parallel to the bed, that way I know I have a nice flat section for my jaws to sit on, and that's good. Alright. Now I'll take my detail tool and make my dovetail. About 10 degrees. Real quick and simple. Mark the center if I need to be relocating this for some reason. Just make a little mark right there. Alright, so there's my tenon made. It's ready to go. There's my basic roughed out here. I'm going to jump to the overhead. So we've got both sides relatively even. We have our tenon made. Looks like, and I haven't measured this. I don't usually worry too much about it. So I've got about an inch and 5/8 there, and an inch and 3/4 on the top. Excuse me. And this is going to get smaller. We want our ring to be bigger. So I will keep, since I'm here on the faceplate, I'm going to remove as much material. I'm going to go ahead and remove as much material from here while I'm on the faceplate as I can. Once I have it in the chuck, it's more susceptible to coming off, especially with this knot. Now and the other thing I'll end up doing, I bet you, because just these knots, they're so hard compared to the rest of this. I know sometimes you think we can't get a catch with a carbide tool maybe, but you can if the right thing happens, because I got a big split here. So I'll probably put the tailstock back up. But I want to go ahead and bring these down as much as I can while it's on this faceplate with 8.5 inch screws in it. Now, do I know exactly how big I'm going to make the bowl? No, I don't. But we'll get there. Checking for anything there. And the questions. Looks good. All right, where am I at? Which screen am I on? I'm me. Let's go back to... Go to the overhead. And I'm curious to see... It looks dark on my monitor, but I want to see what it looks like. I'll see it pop up on the other screen here in a second. What you're seeing light-wise in there. And let's go ahead and grab a bowl gouge now. We're starting to get to the shaping stage. Now that I have my true bottom defined there, I'll start to carve some of this away, and we'll make that dimension smaller there in time. Waiting for that other picture to change for me. Oh, let's see here. Oh, you can see pretty well. That light's pretty good. Okay. Yeah. So now that's getting me close. So I want to go ahead and I think I'll take it all the way to where my, you can't see, so you were seeing that, but I'm going to change it to the end view now. I'm going to go ahead and go up to my tenon area. Keep myself out of the way best I can, out of the camera. Define my parameters that I'm working with. This wood has a variety of hard and soft. You can see this is some really, really hard wood, and then this wood, the end grain is not really hard there, and this face grain, this is starting to spalt, is still really soft. So I'm getting quite a bit of difference on how this cuts. But we'll just deal with that. So I kind of have to decide, well, how big do I want my ring here? Now, in reality, looking at Saturn, studying again this morning, it's a very distinct. It's a globe. It's a round ball, but we're making a bowl, and we could do that, and we can make this curve in sharper, and we might. You know how I talk about, I just love to, one of the things I love the most about wood turning is I can just change my mind all day long. You know? So let's do that. We'll change this profile now. Developing this curve. This is so much fun. Now I'm leaving the ring fairly thick right now on purpose as well, because I want to do some things. I might maybe want to do. That's nice grammar, Bradley. Put some beads on it and then take away space. Change this camera for a second. I think my beading tool is in here. I may want to put some beads on the rings, if you will. So I have a bead flat and a bead and a flat, and then take away some of that space between the beads, and maybe do a fill there. Might do a resin fill or some kind of a color. So I want to leave myself plenty to work with. I mean, this is still about a ½ an inch thick. It doesn't need to be that thick, and in the end it won't be, but I want to make sure I leave myself plenty to work with. The bottom of this is looking really nice. The top of this thing is still ugly. We'll have to see what happens. But overall, the bottom of this is looking quite nice. I got, like I said, I got a little split here and there, and I knew that was going to be in there. but no huge knots and holes and all that like we have in other places. So let's do a little more work on this, and I think I'll get this kind of where I want it. Rough, generally speaking, because once I turn it around and put it in the chuck, I'm not going to be able to get to this very much. So I'm going to go ahead and get it where I want it, and then we'll go ahead and turn it around. And of course, as always, if anybody's got any questions out there, you holler at me, and I will do my best to give you what I can answer that about. I'm going to switch over to a slightly smaller gouge here now, get a little finer on the work. And I got sawdust out on the floor, so I got to find a place to look at this profile. I think one of the things I enjoy the most is making a really nice continuous arc that is, I don't want to say accurate because that's debatable, but it's appealing at least to my eye, and doesn't have any humps and valleys and things like that in it. So you can see how I'm slowing the feed rate way down, taking a lighter cut, and I'm actually looking at the opposite side of the bottom here, watching the profile develop. Okay. So I'm actually watching over here, and I'm getting a great finish off the tool there. That is really nice and smooth. The end grain, this crazy end grain isn't tearing out. A little bit of fuzzy right there. But that is some pretty wood. I don't know, let's see what it shows up when you see it. That's gorgeous. I know I'm going to cut in on this, but humor me. Okay, that is cool. A little bounce right there from that knot right there. This is how much the density in the woods can affect. I'm gonna show you. So I'm pointing to that knot right there. It's amazing how much a density change between that one little knot that's right there can make the tool bounce. I mean, I had a perfectly smooth cut, and then boom, right on that knot. Makes the tool jump around, and then it smooths back down. So I need to make another pass on that. Like I said, right there, that little booger of a knot. So I'll keep that in mind. When I get right there, I'll slow way down. Now there's an interesting little trick right here. I'll get those out of the way. So as I get right up to the bowl, I just roll the tool over and kind of clean that out, make that cut with the wing, and blend that right in. Okay, and that's much better. Still got a little, I got a little hump right there, but I'm going to put I wonder if I should go ahead and do my little beads on here now. I think I might. Let me look here real quick and see if I have my beading tool right. Ah! Hope it didn't. Oh, it came apart. That's going to be a drag. If my beading tool, my D-Way beading tool is here. No, that's not it. That's a double-ended gouge. I got so many tools around here these days. It may be over in the drawer. I lose track of stuff sometimes. If not, I'll do it a different way. If I don't have it handy. Although I swore I had it in here. I'm going to look over here one more time in this vicinity. Double. Nope, not that. Not that one. Crash. Boom, bang. Okay. Not where I thought it was. Story of my life. One more place to check real quick. Not in there. Not up that sleeve. Okay, we'll go about it a different way. But my strap just came off, which is a real bother. So I'll go back to me here for a second. I apologize for this. I have strap issues today. This hopefully will just take a minute or so, or two. And any questions? Arthur, can you fix the strap on my face mask for me, buddy? Pain in the neck. It is. I do have another face shield over there that if this is good, that I'll wear. And I don't want to take up the time, even though I can't stand them. I do have it. I'm just not a fan. I know it's more coverage and all that. I just don't. They're not comfortable to me. Anyway, and I can't find my beading tool. So, what are we going to do? Well, we're gonna make our own beads here on the bottom. That bothers me that I can't find them. But what I think I'll do on this big flat is I will take, that's got no cutter in it. I think I will take a round, that's negative break. May have to change the cutter out. Nope, I'll just do it with the #1 hollower. Let me pencil this out real quick, give myself a plan. I'm back on, there's still me there, so let's go to end. I want to have I want that to be a bead. See how my division by guessing works. A little big on the outside. We may be turning that away. So let's see. Let's fill this one in. That's a bead. Valley or cove. And that's one. And I'm going to move this one over just a fuzz. Just for fun. So I do this now, I don't have to come back and do it. Ow, my pencil got hot. Do this now, I don't have to come back later on. Now, if I get it this way now and I make my coves and my beads and all my profile back here, then when I turn it around, this is already all done from a turning standpoint. All right? So, there goes Bradley wearing the head cruncher. This one doesn't even have a knob on it, but it will do the trick. It will do the trick. So we'll go back to the end. Do. So what'll be fun is I can actually, if I choose to, I can fill these with resin and have some color in there, and then come back and clean it off. Or I can have this, I can round that over. I can do a lot of different things. Okay, and we can check this. They're not. That one's the biggest one. That one's, I think, so they get progressively smaller coming out, which I'm okay with that as well. All right. This one, this edge here, I can always take away if I want to. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and turn this around. No, I know I'm going to go ahead and turn this around and head for the other side. Now, looking at the top of this, I see that this is going to get turned to get clean. So probably this one little edge is going to go away. But we've got work to do on the top here, so we'll do that. There we go. The ugliness is on the top. Debbie Whitmel Schroeder, high school, blast from the past. How are you doing? Thank you for stopping by, visiting what I'm up to at this stage in life. I hope you're doing well. I'm having a ball. So the top side of this is going to be a little bit more interesting to work with. It's got that really hard grain knot in it. It'll be a little more challenging for us. But that's hot. But that's okay. It's not the first time we've had to deal with that. So we get a truck in here. It is a beautiful fall day. Finally, in the last 2 days, 3 days, our colors have started to change. We don't get a lot of color here in South Georgia. And it was kind of disappointing because colors started to change on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday night it rained all night and took a lot of the leaves off, unfortunately. So it's time to clean up the yard in my spare time. I get the rider out and we'll run it around as a vacuum mower. Just changing jaws out here. 11 o'clock. Think we're doing okay on time. It's only 11 o'clock. This is a fun piece. I'm enjoying this. As you hear me talk about regularly when I come out here now on Mondays, because I spend the rest of the time inside in the office working on all the internet stuff and whatnot. This is really great fun and releasing and relaxing for me. I want to see if I can show you that. Does it matter? In the overhead. Just to give me an idea of what that bottom looks like. Came out real nice. Okay. Wood cut really clean. I love the pattern in the grain. So we'll get this mounted up in here. And I'm going to bring tailstock back up. Yeah, I did cut that tenon a little bigger than usual, but that's okay. I've probably got a 3/8 of an inch gap, and I usually like more like an 1/8. But we'll live with that. Like I said, if you hear me humming, you know I'm having fun out here. Getting ready for the woodworking shows. I'm spending a lot of time on that. The free VIP pass giveaway is up now. So Spydercraft gives away a dozen sets, 24 passes, dozen sets to 12 or 24 lucky winners. The registration is already up on Spydercraft events page. Go to Spydercraft events, the woodworking shows, and VIP pass registration. That's up there. You can check it out. Actually, that's in the wrong way because I want to get the tailstock back up here for a minute. People have been registering. I give it away on December, I think, 21st here on Spydercraft Facebook page. And I will have drawn the names, the lucky winners. And then I'll send out the notices. And how it works is you tell me what show you're coming to, and the passes will be waiting for you there at the show. You get your lanyard, VIP pass. And if Arthur, if you're still in here, I think you got some 1 year, didn't you? Can't remember if you did. I think you did. Of course, I think you have passes, lifetime passes too. You get all the lucky stuff, Art. And then it'll be coupons and a grand prize sweepstakes. It's going to be a nice one again this year. I don't know I know some of the items, but I'm not going to reveal. I didn't do one last year. I did one the year before. It was about $5,000 worth of wood turning tools, supplies, equipment, colorants, resins, all kinds of things. You have to come to the show to register for that one. That's the key. You can't register for that one without being at the woodworking show. All right. So we're mounted. We're turned around. Let's check this. We recheck our speed, make sure everything's all good. All right, that's not bad. That's turned into 1,000. I'll leave it at 1,000. Things are looking good here. I'm looking at the other monitors. So I think I will take you to the end camera so that you can see what we do next here. Stop that for a second. Put on my favorite thing, the face shield. Okay. We got to get rid of some more nasty wood here. So I'm going to go back to that square carbide cutter because I don't have to worry about resharpening and all that stuff. I'll just wear that dude out and change it. So I'm just gonna mow some of this away in whatever fashion works best. Let's see how it wants to play here today. Once you start getting about 2 inches over the tool rest, with the tool this size, it starts to give you a little bit of a bounce. We've got plenty of wood to get rid of here, so I'm going to go through this real quick. So I want to get to where I match up with the bottom bowl, the bottom half of the bowl. Hopefully I'll get rid of all that nasty knot that was in there. If not, we'll just deal with it. So I don't know if you can see the tool jumping up or down. Let me go to overhead here for a second for you. I want to show you something. When I get to about here with the tool, I've got another 3/4 of an inch to go. The tool starts to want to jump and bounce some, and so because I can cut on the side, it's actually then much smoother to come in from the side, and I don't get near the resistance. So you'll see here as we come in, that time it didn't do it. A little bit right there. If I just go ahead and change, turn sideways, it's all good. Still some nasty wood right there. My visor dealie is sliding around on me. So I just look over the top. I'm getting pretty close, so I'll probably make one more pass here, and then I'll switch over to the bowl gouge and stuff. Okay. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. That's real close in size right there. If you can see, do I have something I can put under there? I lost my card. I used to have something I could stick in there. I had a white card I could stick in there so you could see the contrast. Probably got resin all over it and threw it away. Imagine that. So here's the issue that I see coming up. I'm going to change the camera to, not me, the end camera. This area right in here, this is still in the wall of our bowl. There's a knot right there. Now this is going to be close to the bottom. This is going to get carved away. So maybe that issue will go away, and maybe it won't. We'll just have to see. Beautiful grain on the top here as well. This hasn't been cleaned up yet. This guy's calling for dye. With these light and dark colors, if I was to dye this, well, pink is my favorite, or a teal, a light teal, a light green, I would get a nice contrast with this nice white wood, and then the dark lines that would make for a nice pattern. But we got to deal with this, and to do that, we have to take the tailstock away. So off it comes. Good morning, Al. I don't know when you came in, but I see you there now. Thank you for stopping by. Out here having fun as always. Making a Saturn bowl. Working on it anyway. Alright, I really do hate to put my gouges to this until I'm ready for my final cuts. So that's why I'm saying with the carbide, I believe in using whatever tool does what I need. Whatever tool is doing the best and is the best for me. So right now, I don't need perfect cuts. Some of this wood might tear out a little bit with the carbide tools, even though they've been doing a pretty good job. Why waste my nice tool? Well, they're all nice tools, don't get that wrong. My gougers that I have to resharpen, why waste that sharp edge on some nasty wood in here? Take that carbide that's going to hold up for a long time, and you can just change that cutter. Get close, then we switch over to our real sharp, fine edge on our gouge that we can retune. That's the one thing with the carbide, so they last a long time. But, you know, to stop and sharpen them up real quick, it's kind of a pain. You got to take the cutter off, put it on the diamond card, yada-yada. So you save those after all the rough work is done, and then come in and make things what you want. So I'm going to go to a round cutter, and I'm, again, in my world, the EasyWood Tools #1 hollower, which I use for 100 other things other than hollowing. I was just writing descriptions for this last night for the new website, and this is my favorite tool from EasyWood. And for most guys who turn with their tools a lot, you can't beat this guy. And even though it's small, because I got this hardwood and softwood and this crack, it's going to give me a nice light cut if I want, or a big heavy cut if I choose to do that. So, switch back over to the end for you. AMD, I do not want you to upgrade my video driver right now. Always something going on the computer there. Okay. Tool rest is a little low. So I'm going to rough this shape with this small tool. Okay. You really can move a lot of material with this little teeny cutter really quick. Now, another question I have from a design standpoint is this bowl going to be open? Is it going to be closed? Remember, Saturn's a planet, right? So do we want to just have a little small... Do we want to just have a little small hole, you know, up in there so that it actually, we can just hollow it out and it's still, you know, I don't have enough to make it perfectly round like a ball, so I'm kind of looking at the profile. What should I do? I don't think I'll make it a little teeny hole. I think I will let this keep rolled around. I'm not going to have it just come up. I'm going to let it roll over. The general shape is there, and I'm happy with that. It is a bowl. I did call it a bowl, so we're going to go with the bowl concept. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide, well, how big is the opening in my bowl? How hard do I want to make myself work? And I like that right about there. So just for fun, in this case, we're going to make, this is how big our opening is going to be. So I'm just roughing all this out. Remember, you can do whatever you want. Okay. Time to change tool. Take a look. There's still some nastiness here. We'll be filling that, I can see, before it's all said and done, when this piece gets finished. but so be it. Okay, my half-inch gouge is coming into play here. Lower that tool rest back down. Lewis says amen on the #1 hollower. It is just, it's a fantastic little tool. I don't care what anybody thinks or else says. It really does. It does the job. It really does. Okay. So let's go in here and start to clean this guy up. Finish his shape. Trying to make that line up. I've got a little bit more to go. I want to line it up with the front side with the back side, if you will. That's why I left myself some extra, so that as I refine the shape, I should hopefully come at it about the right spot that I want to be. But I tell you what, there's nothing like a nice sharp gouge to make a cut. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And that's real close to being uniform. Where the back side comes in. See how this shows up in the overhead for you. Again, I wish I had some more contrast, but you can see where, I'll do it right here on the front, where the back and the top and the bottom come together. And as I look at it from the side, that's just about right on the money for the shape and the size. That cut really nice. These we'll just have to fill. Okay. That's not the end of the world. We'll fill that with some dark filler. Put some epoxy or some CA. CA with filler powder in there to fill that. That's no big deal. I love, as they say, love the pattern in this wood. This is really pretty. Okay, so let's clean up this face. Let's see how we can do coming across here. If I can get that to turn. You hear that vibration between the crack and the fact that I took some material away on the back? I tend to get a little bit of vibration there. Let's see what else we can do with this guy. Okay, that's pretty smooth. That came out pretty nice. It does roll up a little bit. It gets a little bit thicker right in here, just a touch. I don't know that that's the end of the world by any means. I think I'll take one more pass across here, kind of define that corner. Now, I don't know if you remember I said that this edge was not looking good. So let's go ahead and clean that up. I love this pattern. That is crazy good looking. I just started very light. Across this, just to clean this up. Alright. Got a little fuzz on the edge right there, that front edge. Where when it's going off, when the tool comes off the edge there. And I got a crack right there, going out through there. A crack right here. So we'll fill that. Okay, that is... I'm just super happy with the way that looks. Alright, let's go ahead and set up our Crusoe. Let's see, where am I at here? My head's not in the way. My head might get in the way. I'll try not to. There's the middle of that one. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Okay. A little bit in my head anyway, but not too bad. Okay, back to my round cutter that I used before. Hey, my mom showed up. Hey, Mom. Thanks for coming by. I do work. I truly do. And let's go to the end camera. And I'm going to look over here and say, do I really like where those lines are? So I start with the outside line because if I started on the inside and I come out here, this will want to flex more, so I start on the outer edge. You can already hear the vibration a little bit. So I just kind of feel that, see if they're about the same. You can't see both sides at once, so it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. These lines don't exactly match what's going on. That feels good. This one is pretty close. Again, you can't see both at the same time, so it's okay. I'm going to make that one a little bit wider. And then this one goes all the way up to the piece. All right, now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to come in here with the detail tool and take this rounded edge away and actually kind of almost square that off, if you will. And make sure I have that deep enough to make me happy. I do. Okay, detail tool. That way, that brings the curve back around. It actually starts to curve By making this detail cut in here, it actually starts the curve back around into the ring to complete the arc of the piece. And I'm looking at it out here, so I need to take a little bit more out of it, actually. And these little pointed tools like this are good. It just makes it easy. Okay. Again, it's all about making that profile line up. Take this silly thing off. And I can come back here in the back side and do the same thing, and I think I will. I'm going to jump around the back, which, let's go to the overhead. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Let's go on the overhead here, and I'm going to jump around the back side on this and do the same thing, that little detail. And then we'll refine the shape, and then we'll take the inside out. Stop. Come here. You'll be able to see this back here in the back or not. Probably not, but you'll get the idea. And I'll put it in, so it's in the overhead. If I zoomed in there, it's because it's straight up and down over top of it, I don't think you'll be able to see the cut. That looks good. So now, when I step back and I look at the bowl going through the ring, you know, I see that curve. You can see it against my black jacket. It is bigger here, and that's actually part of that curve, so it comes up, and this is the largest diameter of the bowl, and then it rolls around. Okay. So I'm happy with that. That's cool. It's looking good. Again, this grain is just out of this world. Maybe that was meant to be a stellar, galactic, yada, yada. You know what I mean? With that grain. So let's take the inside of this out. What camera am I on? I'm on me. All right, so we'll take the inside out. We'll hollow this guy out. This, I don't think, will give me a structural issue. Here's another interesting little tidbit. I don't know if you can see or not. The screw holes are right here. So this is a waste not, want not. The screw holes are right inside. So that kind of, we had to make the hole this big because of the size of the faceplate that I used. That's right where the screw holes are. So that kind of would have dictated in reality how much of this we had to do anyway. Okay? So, good deal. All right. I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying this project. And I see some fills in here or something. I don't know. This is going to be interesting to play with. Going to be interesting to play with. To hollow this out, to make it quick, the quickest thing I can use is that #1 hollower, believe it or not, to go in there and just rough this out down through there, and then I'll come in with a curve tool. I mean, sure, I can grab a bowl gouge and do it, but this is really quick and easy. I'll just drill a hole down the middle. Because I'm pushing right down the axis of the lathe, I can push really hard. Just whenever I go past center, it jumps like that. Sorry for my head there. Okay. Well, what I want to do is I want to get past the center point here, and then I'm going to take out, I will take away the curved piece and match the top. Then I will finish taking out the rest in the bottom. So I'm going to go just a little bit further, and then I'm going to switch tools. Because I need a little running room, if you will, a little room extra behind me on the back end. So I'll take a little bit more out here, right down to the bottom, and across the bottom. Okay. All right. Now, because we have some splits in this, because we have these splits right here, I'm not going to cut that super thin. If I make it really thin, I run the chance of breaking it. So I'm going to leave it a little bit thicker than I might, and then I'll glue that up, and then I'll come back and maybe return it thinner or not. So I'm going to grab what is the, I don't know what shape that cutter's in. Ooh. Let me turn that cutter real quick.
Get out of this thing for a second. I'm going to use the EasyWood Tools full size number 3 hollower to reach in there. Now they call it a hollower. I use it on bowls, so all kinds of things. Recurve bowl rims, one thing and another. Real handy tool to have around. So when I put on a cutter, I put the EWT logo to the front. And then if it looks, well, that's like it's got a chip in it from probably riding. And I had to go up on a call last week, I guess it was. So I put the EWT logo out front. And then I can turn it one time, then I'll have to, where I see CI3. I know I have a fresh cutter there. And no, you didn't see me use the long end of the arm to tighten that. Don't tell them. Don't tell them I'm breaking the rules. So to start up here, I need to back this up to be right on the tool rest where I start right here. Okay. Now it would be easier for me if this head rotates, but I think you'll be able to see in there pretty well. So I'm not going to move the head. But if your head rotates, or if it slides down to the end, slide it down to the end, make it easier on yourself. We're not having to lean over your lathe and all that to do this. But let's get you back on the end camera. And I'll watch the opposite side. I'll work my way down in stages. Makes really quick work of this. I also listen to the sound. You can hear how thin that sounds. And then it gets deeper. This is also the harder area down in here. With a tool like this, you always want to be cutting with the very tip of the cutter. You don't want to cut with this edge. You can see that clearly. Always cut out here. That vibration you heard, it was trying to cut. I hadn't rotated around. It was trying to cut with the side there. Let's see what this thickness is looking like. Okay. I just use my fingers. Something you can reach in here. It's pretty easy to tell. Okay.
fighting the visor here. And then to not cut with the side, I just rotate the tool. Okay, so I can come across. Makes it easy. Alright, let's stop and check our thickness again. Okay. We're good. We've got a little bit more to go right at the edge. Or right at the where it meets the rings. Okay. So we can check that with a set of calipers if we want to see for sure. I mean, I don't ever really worry about it being perfect and all that stuff. Let's see if you'll be able to see. But you'll be able to see. These may not. I'll have to find a way to get it to where you can see what the caliper's showing. Alright, so up here at the top, I'm trying to figure out a way. Alright, so there's just my fingernail and a tick. That's how I kind of do it. And I grow a little bit to where my finger goes in easier now. And then when I get right down to the ring, my finger will go through. So I still have a little bit more to take out right there if I want to. I'm the thinnest right here at the very top, which I expected. See that? So I can take just a little bit more right here. I don't want to take too much more. This stayed together, surprisingly, okay? So I'll take a little bit more right down in there, and then we'll take out the depth in the bottom and continue on. So I'll go back to the straight tool here in just a second. Am I doing time? 11:35. I'm all good. Put on this wonderful face shield. So just a little bit more, just right down to the ring. And you can feel if you have any big ridges or anything. And then I'll just roll that around. And that's going to be, don't stick your finger in there when it's running because that edge can be sharp. Alright, so that's perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. Alright. Set this off the side for a sec, and we're going to go back and go all the way down towards the bottom. I'll bring my tool rest and kind of stick it up inside there just a little teeny bit. Make sure nothing's touching. Rid of that nub. Get out of there, nub. I'll drill a hole down in here. So you have to be careful right here. You can see my finger, my hand. I felt this second finger. So as I was cutting, there's that second finger. That I can't lift it up. It's not that talented. That finger right there. I felt it just start to touch the edge of this. And with that crack in there, had it touched any more, I could have cut my finger. So you really have to be careful because I'm working down in here and I'm concentrating on what's way down inside. And I'm not paying that much attention as I should up here. So you want to be careful. that you're not going to get cut. So I'm going to use the quick and dirty measure method here, and I'm as deep as I want to go. Okay? So that didn't take long at all. But I will take a little bit more out. Not deeper, just of this extra wood. You have to remember that this bolt is curving around now on the back side. Okay, and your chips are always going to hang out at the largest area inside the bowl, inside the piece. Okay, so that's coming right along nicely. Now we can back up with our tool rest because we need to stay on the flat of this. And so now we'll work, let's see what you can see. You can't quite see that edge in there, but I'll work this where I stopped working here down to the point that I've made. And that will be the inside of our piece. And 39, we're all good. So I'll start to pick up the cut right there. Roll the tool around. Right down to my bottom. Try not to get too aggressive. If you're careful, you can use the tool to clean out the chips. So right here, right at this point, I have just a little bit of an issue in that I'm about to touch the gooseneck type right here. And I can't quite make the turn yet, so I just have to be really careful because I'm starting to cut with this face of the cutter that I don't really want to cut with. The reality is what I can do is come back in here with a straight tool and finish that out. I won't have that issue. Let's clean this out real quick. Because you don't have to use the curved tool all the way in here where you can reach with a straight tool. Okay, we just need to use it to work on the curve. And true reality, if you wanted to, you could come across like this. If you didn't have a curved tool, you could have done this whole piece with a straight tool at an angle like that, if you want to. Alright, so I'm going to take out a little bit more against the wall. This feels really good. I got a ridge about 2/3 of the way down on the bottom side, at the bottom half of this. So we'll clean that up. A little bit more from the center off. Center off, that's a NASCAR term. A little thick from the center off. Dad will appreciate that. Okay, so I started running into that corner pretty good, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to my straight tool to finish this out on the inside. Getting to where I need to be. I have a line there where I stop cutting, that's easy to feel. Just a nice sweeping motion will work for that. We'll check this for thickness on the back side with the caliper just to be sure where we're at. So again, my little finger, that's about the thickest point, and it still gets a little thicker down here, so I can take a little bit more out of the bottom. Let me change this over to the big end. Okay, so my bottom is about 1 inch course, I can't get right to the bottom. About an inch down in there, so I can take a little bit more out of the bottom. I always like to leave a little extra in there in case I have an issue with the tenon area when I'm back on taking that out on the outside. So you can see we've got half an inch up in there. So we can take a little bit more. That's all good right there. All right, a couple more passes in there, and I think we're done with our hollowing. That worked pretty easy. We'll keep the straight tool in play. So from about the center, now just a couple of passes, because that moves plenty of wood in a hurry. I've got to fix this face shield again. Hang on just a moment. There we go. Of course, the last thing you want to do, you get all this work done, you don't want to go ahead and cut a hole through the bottom of your piece, now do you? That's pretty smooth transition in there. Okay, a little bit more out of the bottom, take the nub. And I can actually afford to take a bit more just right off the very bottom. So I'm going to come in here to the nub, take away the nub and drill myself a little bit more depth. Okay, and then I'll blend that in to the walls. Again, my finger got really close to the edge because I was concentrating on what's going on the bottom. Okay, let's get rid of our nub. All right. That's coming out well. Barry Demers, how are you there, buddy? Where you been hiding? Where's the RV park this week? Where's the RV this week? Okay, this thing, I am really pleased how this has come out. For that nasty piece of wood that I started with this morning. So here's our profile. Kind of Saturn-like. Then we have our bowl inside. And that goes in there pretty nice. That cleaned out really well. The rings are... You can't see them in this front view too much. You can see them pretty well in this overhead. Let me change cameras here. Excuse me. If I can get a little shadow, you can kind of see the ring profile. So I think I will fill this row, and this row. This will be the black row because it's supposed to be dark right up against the planet. And this will be the natural grain coming across here. And I could change my mind by the time I get to this. Then this would be a color. I'm thinking about not opaque but translucent, but some color so we still don't lose the grain. It'd be a shame to lose all the grain. Now this is going to be black, and I think it should be. This will be natural. This will be translucent to where we can still see the grain. Natural, translucent, natural. Now I've got a little gunk here, and see, I've got some splits I've got to fill. So this I'm going to fill with a resin, so I'm not going to worry about that. But this split up here, probably I'll just let the resin pack in there, and that's the only split. These splits here, I might fill with resin. I can fill them with resin. I can fill them with CA. If you're going to fill a crack with CA, put a little sealer around it. Put a little lacquer on it, depending on what your finish is going to be. You can either use a clear sealer or see, like I've got Chromacraft Clear Sealer. It's actually the dye without the dye. So in the Chromacraft liquid dyes, there's a little bit of resin and a little bit of shellac, and it won't completely seal the wood if you put it on lightly, so that it won't take color, but it will help you not have your CA change the color of the wood so much. And then I think I see over here, it may be some more clear, the WR20, yes, the WR20 urethane is a water-based urethane, and once you put it on a piece and it dries, it's white when you first put it on. Once it dries, there's virtually no sheen to it, so you can't even tell that you've put a finish or a sealer on it. It works great when you use the Rustina product for patina work. Works great. You can put it on there. It doesn't even look like you put a finish on it, but it's been sealed. So those things are the good ways to seal up that. Again, I'm taking. We're in Sebastian Inlet. I landed the sharks when I used to surf kayaks over there, Barry. I hit a shark in the wave that was at least as long as my 13-foot kayak, and that was the end of the day. I stopped my surfing. So I would like to show you, I think, if I'm going to try this, I'm going to try and just put some alcohol on here. I don't want to put any lacquer on it yet. I want to see if I can show you what this grain might look like. So I'm going to flood this with some alcohol. I don't have any spray can, but I have a rag here. And I'm just going to flood this so you can see this. I'm curious to see it myself, for that matter. This grain is I just am fascinated by the grain in this. So this is just denatured alcohol. It won't leave any residue. So I think if I dye these and fill these translucent, we're going to get a nice contrast with these lines. I'll try some back in here. Hold it up. Try and hold it up closer to the camera and get some light. Actually, I think maybe you might see it better in this end camera. Let's try this for you. I know it's hard to see with the light shining on it. And let's just get a little bit more on there. This can's just about empty. If I get too close, the focus won't keep up. But anyway, all these black spalting lines in here are just fantastic. Okay. So back to, I should hit you back on the overhead there for a second real quick. Put this down before I spill it. And I'll try and hold it up. I don't know if it'll stay in focus or not as I get close, because it's on a fixed focus now. But there's our profile. The two pieces come together very nicely. The bowl, hard to hold it steady and upside down, and you have to think upside down and backwards. The bowl transfers nicely from the top, comes around the top, transfers right through. Pretty neat. Let me see. I'm going to try this. I don't know if it stays in focus or not. I have to do this and look up. You can see how that. So that's pretty cool. That worked out well. There you can see the lines running through there. So a fun piece. Made again with pseudo scrappy piece of wood. 752. Made with kind of a scrappy piece of wood. Turned out great. We knocked it out. That big knot that was an issue to start with, that's gone. Hollowed out easily. We got a little crack there to fix. beautiful patterns in the wood. This is going to be a really nice piece. So I'll get it finished up. If you have votes for what other colors, like I said, I'm going to do black. This is going to be black. I haven't decided what I'm going to do up here yet. If anything, I might leave it natural. This will be black, and then I'm going to have 2 translucent colors here, and these are going to be natural. If you have an opinion, shoot me an email, send me a message in Messenger, and I'll take it under advisement as a polite way to put it. I'll see if I like your idea or not. But no, seriously, shoot me a note. Tell me what you think. Let me know what you think of the process today. These are fun. They're not really hard to do at all. Pretty straightforward. I had a ball, and I'll look over here for any questions and see if anything's shaking. Otherwise, here in just a minute, so that I can actually be done on time for once, I'll be wrapping this up. Hopefully next week, I will have the resin holoforms that I'm working on, that project, that process. I will have that, I hope, ready. Depending again on my schedule and the weather this week. I have 2 of them over there at the same stage. One of them I will take all the way through to where it's ready to turn. So you can see the final turning of the piece. And I need to keep one at the initial stages, so I need to do one more because there's 3 stages to it, at least, along with the different pieces and parts. It's really neat. I'm working with the Chromacraft gel resin. It does a great job. I use my digital thermometer, and I mix it up, and I let it, because it's got a long open time, so I let it start to cure, and I take the temperature with the digital infrared thermometer, and when it starts getting up around 100 or so, I go ahead and do my work with it. And it doesn't, even though it's a gel, still it's on a piece and it's vertical. It tries to run some. It's not filling the gap. It's just out there in the world. So it's pretty neat. And the first one I did was a failure. As soon as I put it in the pressure pot, I knew what I had done wrong. I didn't take some physics into account. I went in the house and I sat down and said, "Hey, Bridget, guess what? All that work I just did went out the window." But that's how we learn, you know? Okay. It looks like you guys don't have any more questions for me. So I'm going to say thank you for coming today. I hope you enjoyed. I did myself, had a wonderful time. I do appreciate everybody coming by. Don't forget, Spiracraft's got everything on sale. I know Black Friday and all that's happening, but we have everything at 15% off through the month and free shipping. So jump in there and grab you some turn-in stuff. And I will see you all next Monday. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye.